Let us talk about responsible parenthood. This is a very important topic in civic education. It appears in your exams every year. By the end of this lesson, you will understand what responsible parenthood means, the roles and responsibilities of parents, the importance of responsible parenthood, the consequences of irresponsible parenting, and how to answer exam questions. Pay attention, take notes, let us go. First, what is responsible parenthood? Responsible parenthood is the ability of parents to provide for the physical, emotional, intellectual, and social needs of their children. It means raising children in a way that prepares them to become responsible adults. Responsible parenthood begins before the child is born. It includes planning the family, ensuring proper prenatal care, and preparing for the arrival of the child. After the child is born, responsible parenthood continues through childhood and adolescence. It does not end when the child becomes an adult. Good parents continue to guide and support their children throughout their lives. Responsible parenthood has several key elements. The first element is providing for basic needs. Children need food, shelter, clothing, and healthcare. Parents have a duty to ensure that these needs are met. A parent who does not feed his children is not being responsible. A parent who does not take a sick child to the doctor is not being responsible. The second element is providing love and emotional support. Children need to feel loved and valued. They need to know that their parents care about them. They need affection, encouragement, and praise. A parent who never shows love to his children is not being responsible. The third element is providing education. Parents must send their children to school. They must help with homework. They must teach their children right from wrong. They must prepare their children for life. The fourth element is discipline. Children need boundaries. They need to know what is allowed and what is not allowed. They need to be corrected when they do wrong. Discipline must be fair and consistent. It must be done with love, not anger. The fifth element is setting a good example. Children learn more from what their parents do than from what their parents say. Parents who want their children to be honest must be honest themselves. Parents who want their children to work hard must work hard themselves. Now, let me explain the roles and responsibilities of parents. Parents have many responsibilities. The first responsibility is to provide for the physical needs of the child. This includes food, water, shelter, clothing, and medical care. A child who is hungry cannot learn. A child who is sick cannot grow. Parents must prioritise these basic needs. The second responsibility is to provide for the emotional needs of the child. Children need to feel safe and secure. They need to know that their parents love them unconditionally. Parents should spend time with their children. They should listen to their children. They should show affection. The third responsibility is to provide moral and spiritual guidance. Parents should teach their children the difference between right and wrong. They should teach them values like honesty, respect, kindness, and responsibility. They should also teach them about their faith, if they have one. The fourth responsibility is to provide education. Parents should send their children to school. They should ensure that their children attend regularly. They should support their children's learning at home. The fifth responsibility is to protect the child from harm. Parents must keep their children safe from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. They must know where their children are and who they are with. They must teach their children about safety, including how to avoid strangers and how to respond to danger. The sixth responsibility is to prepare the child for independence. Good parents do not want their children to depend on them forever. They want their children to grow up and become responsible adults. This means teaching children skills like cooking, cleaning, managing money, and finding a job. It also means allowing children to make their own decisions and learn from their mistakes. The seventh responsibility is to be a good role model. Children imitate their parents. If parents are honest, hardworking, kind, and responsible, their children will likely be the same. If parents lie, cheat, are lazy, or are abusive, their children will likely copy those behaviours. Now, let me explain the importance of responsible parenthood. Why is responsible parenthood so important? First, it ensures the survival and healthy development of children. Children who are well cared for are more likely to survive infancy. They are more likely to grow up healthy. They are more likely to reach their full potential. Second, it creates a stable and loving home environment. Children who grow up in stable homes are happier. They do better in school. They have better relationships. They are less likely to engage in risky behaviours like drug abuse or crime. Third, it reduces social problems. Many social problems like crime, drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, and violence are linked to poor parenting. Children who are neglected or abused are more likely to become criminals. Children who are not disciplined are more likely to break the law. Responsible parenthood prevents these problems. Fourth, it breaks the cycle of poverty. Children who receive good education and support are more likely to get good jobs. They are more likely to escape poverty. They are more likely to raise their own children well. This creates a positive cycle. Fifth, it contributes to national development. The future of any country depends on its children. If children are healthy, educated, and well-adjusted, they will become productive citizens. They will contribute to the economy. They will participate in democracy. They will build a better society. If children are neglected, the country will suffer. Responsible parenthood is not just a private matter. It is a public good. Everyone benefits when parents do their jobs well. Now, let me explain the consequences of irresponsible parenting. When parents fail in their responsibilities, there are serious consequences. For the child, the consequences can be severe. Neglected children may suffer from malnutrition, illness, and even death. They may have developmental delays. They may struggle in school. They may have emotional problems like depression and anxiety. They may have low self-esteem. They may have difficulty forming relationships. They may turn to drugs or alcohol to cope. They may engage in crime. They may become teenage parents themselves, continuing the cycle of irresponsible parenting. For the family, irresponsible parenting causes stress and conflict. Siblings may feel neglected. Marriages may break down. Extended family may have to step in to care for the children. There may be financial problems if parents do not work or spend money on drugs or gambling. For the community, irresponsible parenting leads to higher crime rates, more drug abuse, more teenage pregnancy, and more school dropouts. The community must spend more money on police, prisons, and social services. The quality of life in the community declines. For the nation, irresponsible parenting has long-term consequences. The country will have a workforce that is less educated and less healthy. The country will have higher rates of crime and violence. The country will spend more on social welfare programs. Economic growth will be slower. National development will be hindered. In short, irresponsible parenting hurts everyone. Now, let me explain the factors that contribute to irresponsible parenting. Several factors can make it difficult for parents to fulfill their responsibilities. Poverty is a major factor. Poor parents may not have enough money to feed their children or send them to school. They may work long hours and have no time for their children. They may live in dangerous neighbourhoods. Lack of education is another factor. Parents who did not finish school may not understand the importance of education for their own children. They may not know how to discipline effectively. They may not know how to support their children's learning. Substance abuse is another factor. Parents who are addicted to drugs or alcohol cannot care for their children properly. They may spend money on drugs instead of food. They may neglect or abuse their children. Teenage parenthood is another factor. Teenagers are not ready to be parents. They lack the maturity, education, and financial resources to raise children. They are more likely to be irresponsible parents. Mental health issues can also contribute. Parents who suffer from depression, anxiety, or other mental illnesses may struggle to care for their children. They may not seek help because of stigma or lack of access to healthcare. A common exam question asks you to define responsible parenthood and explain the roles of parents. Here is a sample answer. Responsible parenthood is the ability of parents to provide for the physical, emotional, intellectual, and social needs of their children. The roles of parents include providing food, shelter, clothing, and healthcare. They must provide moral and spiritual guidance. They must provide education. They must protect their children from harm. They must prepare their children for independence. They must be good role models. Another exam question asks you to explain the importance of responsible parenthood. Here is your answer. Responsible parenthood ensures the survival and healthy development of children. It creates a stable and loving home environment. It reduces social problems like crime and drug abuse. It breaks the cycle of poverty. It contributes to national development by producing healthy, educated, and productive citizens. Another exam question asks you to discuss the consequences of irresponsible parenting. Here is your answer. For the child, consequences include malnutrition, illness, developmental delays, poor school performance, emotional problems, low self-esteem, drug abuse, and crime. For the family, consequences include stress, conflict, financial problems, and family breakdown. For the community, consequences include higher crime rates, more drug abuse, more teenage pregnancy, and higher social welfare costs. For the nation, consequences include a less educated workforce, slower economic growth, and hindered national development. Let us quickly go over what we have learned. Responsible parenthood means providing for children's physical, emotional, intellectual, and social needs. Parents must feed, clothe, shelter, educate, protect, and love their children. They must set a good example. Responsible parenthood is important because it ensures healthy child development, creates stable homes, reduces social problems, breaks the cycle of poverty, and contributes to national development. Irresponsible parenting leads to serious consequences for the child, the family, the community, and the nation. That is what you need for your exam. Practice these points until you can say them without looking at your notes. When you are ready, move to topic 6.